There it is. There's my ugly face. Haha. Okay, because you know what? That's important. Um, Long story short, uh, I have been flying around in my new Harbinger for the last little while when I get the time to play. I've been doing some ratting in the belts and stuff like that. Um, I'll go through the differences in the two ships because they're fairly similar as far as their roles in my mind, as far as their special abilities. But there's definite differences as far as gameplay that you have to be aware of if you're interested from going from a cruiser into a battle cruiser or even larger. My other characters basically fly around in frigates, my two other characters that I have. So flying these two can be very nerve-wracking whenever you're aligning to go someplace. So I'll just go through them real quick. By far, by no means this is not the last fit that I will be doing with my Harbinger. It's just a very usable fit that I've come up with the scavenged goods that I found, very similar to the Omen that I had here. So in general, obviously the Harbinger is bigger than the Omen. If you go down here, you'll look at the mass and the signature radius. Let's see here, but um, basically your size of your ship it is um, 25 two 2,500 tons bigger or T's bigger or whatever um, than the Omen. Since it is bigger, it actually does fly a little bit slower. Your AU in space, it's how far you go, how fast you go in warp speed. It's a 3.5 versus a 4 for the Omen. For Omen, I really like it. It's fairly quick. Um, the biggest ones that I think are the biggest differences are your inertial modifier as far as movement and the ships are concerned. You're going to find this with almost every cruiser versus battle cruiser. Your align time and your initial modifier. Your initial modifier affects the acceleration and turning speed positively and value decreases. So in other words, how fast you turn and how fast you get into warp. Notice here, the higher the numbers, the longer it takes for you to do that. So, and this is massive. This is your align time. You can't go to warp unless you're aligned. So, your align time for a Harbinger is 10.14. With my current setup, nothing boosting its align times and things like that. Same skills. I haven't changed those since I played with the Omen here. And the Omen is at a 6.7. So you're talking almost a 3.5 second longer align time, which if you've not dealt with it, it's literally 50% slower at turning, which is very important whenever you're out ratting or shooting things. Or just trying to get away. I found I almost got killed once or twice just by rats because I was pushing things a little bit to the edge, and then I had to turn and get out and get out of there. And almost my repair wasn't going, almost didn't repair me enough, and I almost lost my expensive, or for me, expensive ship. Um, the so my largest change between the two that you have to be very aware of is your ability. You have to plan out a little bit better, especially your get out of dodge. So, similar to a mining barge, everybody always says when you're mining, align to the right spot. With a battle cruiser or probably a battleship down the road, you want to at least know where you're at tactically. Maybe you're not aligned to something, but at least make sure that you can align as keep your eyes out for things that might be coming at you, whether they might be doomsday devices from NPCs or even guys trying to kill you, other players trying to kill you. One big bonus to the Harbinger, and I'm just going to show you here, and this is a point that was brought up to me um, by one of the comments that was out there, was somebody who really likes flying Harbingers. Um, when you fly the Harbinger, you automatically get an optimal range and fall off bonus. Um, but you've also got your medium energy turrets doing a lot more damage um, versus rate of fire for the other one. One of the guys pointed out to me that they like the um, the medium turrets being having the larger capacity to put capacitor capacity to put. They actually put blasters on um, their Harbinger and then load them up with longer range guns. If you noticed with my or longer range crystals. If you notice with my Omen, I have multi-spectrals on here with long range guns versus my Harbinger here with shorter range guns, but the crystals actually give it a farther range. So I'm actually able to, these fire at about the same distance as these, but I have a better accuracy firing with them. They use less capacity. And the fact that I can throw on an extra one here versus the 5 slots here, I get 6 gun slots for here, allows me to get more damage right here. I'm getting 401 right now versus 375 of a fully tricked out multispectral long range firing Omen. And this is only going to get better because I don't have my battle cruiser bonuses. I think I'm at a level 3 right now. I'm working on level 4 and a level 5 of battle cruiser. So this will only get better here. Um, so big bonus there is that you can throw on an extra gun here. If you can get down to blasters and use longer range crystals, you might be able to do more damage than you were thinking that you thought you could. The other big bonus here again is you've got the 5 gun slots versus 6 gun slots, but it also gives you this 7th slot that you can put other things in. Now I have thrown in an energy Nosferatu only for the effect that I had it in my bay and it helped me keep my capacitor. Big thing here is it only goes 14 kilometers versus, and then my guns themselves go 19 kilometers, the fall off range is. But if you notice my optimal range, 9,000 versus 11,000. So what my thought is you want to get your Nosferatu or whatever else you're using here for E-War to be as close to your guns so that they are in the same range. I'm not a great fitting guy, but that just seems logical. I have messed up in the past where I had long range um, energy beams on here that go like 25 kilometers out. And so I'm orbiting at 20 kilometers, but then I can't hit them with an energy Nosferatu, or if I do, I'm not getting as good a draw as I did. So that's another major difference between the two are the 2 extra slots. You also get 1 extra slot here in your medium slots. So you have 3 here, 2 here. You notice this is very similar. I've just thrown in a cap recharger because I could. I will probably switch that out. This was just stuff that I had on hand. I'm now at that level where I've used my scavenge goods to create a usable ship. Now I can travel to Jita or someplace else through a wormhole with a shopping cart for things that I might want to switch out. And what I would do first is switch out things that aren't the best or things that are missing. Like obviously I don't have any rigs in either one of these ships. I could probably switch that out there. Down here, I've got 3 extruded compact heat sinks that I've been able to scavenge. I don't really think I need to upgrade those at this time. Um, I do have a drone damage amplifier too because I just had it on hand. Do I really need that? Is it giving me that much more damage capability? Well, we're going to find out right now. Turn that off. So it gets me about 12 more damage. Is that really worthwhile? So that's something I have to look for in the future. If you notice over here, oops, that is for later. Um, there it is. Over here, I did not have the drone damage amplifier. I had to use some items to increase my power grid so I could get these other things on here. Meh? Um, so I might be able to switch one of these out now because I've worked on my skills. Um, so also I was able to throw in a reactive armor hardener. Would it be better for me to switch over to a damage, uh, a, I'll remember it later. Um, damage control. I honestly don't think so because this is an armor tank ship. Versus the damage control does the other three. And if I'm in structure, I'm already in trouble. I better be getting out of dodge. So I'm really thinking this is the best one right here, but I might want to look at some coatings or something like that. You never know. Maybe I switch these two out for some coatings, and maybe that'll help me to be able to do some cosmic anomalies rather than just doing asteroid belts. Um, but just in general, it's a bigger ship. It has more slots. It can end up doing more damage and take more of a pounding, but your navigation is going to slow down a lot, and you better be ready for it because if you're not used to it, you better be careful. My only other thing here is you notice my power grid and my capacity have a lot of room that I can mess around with. I am not using this ship at full capacity, and I have an afterburner on here. I did this with the Omen because the Omen was faster. Notice 201 versus 299. So the afterburner, I could close that distance between me and the other ships. I may need to switch this out with a micro warp drive. And I'll give you an update on that, how that works out later on. Or maybe a video or two from now. I definitely want to try that out. The biggest thing with a micro warp drive is obviously there's two major factors with it. Number one, it will make your signature radius a little bit larger, a lot larger actually. It makes it easier to hit, but if you're already being hit, does that really affect that much? Number two, a micro warp drive, and a lot of people forget this, will cut part of your capacitor off. And depending on your skills, it depends. We'll see how much that does. But being an Amarian ship that uses energy lasers, your capacitor is very important. So any reduction in its ability is not good. So, um, wow, I'm just looking here. So I deplete. Oh, here's one. My capacitor currently depletes in 51 minutes. If I'm fighting for 51 minutes, I got a problem. Whereas my capacitor for the Omen depletes in 4 minutes. So that is just a general update on my Harbinger. I'm going to go out and blow up something here in a little while. But what I also wanted to do, and if you guys are bored with technical babble or organizational stuff, um, I'd like to go over some changes for the channel going forward. They're not going to happen right away. It is a process. When I say it's a process, um, I am not talking about the Philadelphia 76ers. I am talking about um, trying to change the channel for better. And the tough part is recognizing for yourself when to reboot. I've done this in the past. And what got me thinking about it this weekend was talking with one of the other people I work with at work. And if this helps you not only at Eve, but in general, in your regular life, um, that would make me so happy. I have two things that I like to do, and I give this advice to anyone who's struggling with work. And one of them is the first one is an advice from my father a long time ago, whenever I was in my first supervisory and managerial positions. Um, and I was very frustrated in my job at the time. I was just so, you know, a job can go up and down, and you can just have your bad days, your bad months, your bad weeks, bad years. But uh, he said, job isn't everything. And this is coming from a guy whose his job was everything. He was all about work. But he gave me some great advice for it once. So my first part will be that advice. But then the second part is how I what I do to refocus myself or reboot myself when I am in a doldrum. And recently I've been in a little bit of a funk with my videos. If you've noticed the last couple where I made mistakes, when you're making mistakes, you're not paying attention. When you're not paying attention, that means you're not as focused, maybe not as interested or passionate. I don't think the passion isn't there, but I haven't been as focused as I'd like to be. And so the first piece of advice is from him. My second piece of advice is something that I've come up with over my 50 years, unfortunately. The first piece is he said, if you are ever so frustrated with your job that you're thinking about quitting or stopping doing it, or you're just looking for a change, um, he said, and this is really, really simple. He said, sit down, take a night, take a couple of days, however long it takes, with a sheet of just a random sheet of paper. And he said, or a book, or whatever it is. He said, write down, brainstorm, and I don't know if he used the word brainstorm. I don't know if he knew the word brainstorm. But this is a man who didn't know what foreshadowing meant. But he did say, um, write down everything that bothers you about your job. Um, everything that you can think of. And just don't do it in one sitting. Take your time on it. This will be incredibly important for you. He said, whether it's the people you work with, the job itself, your job opportunities, your growth, whether you're bored, but be very specific and just keep writing and writing and writing until you can't write anymore. And a lot of people that I tell this to go, oh, so you're venting to yourself. And he said, but my father, this is not what he was saying to do. You're not, part of it, there will be that instant gratification, that instant, ah, I got that off my chest. Ah, okay. But that's not what he wanted me to do. He said, then when you're done doing that, pick a date. Now, depending on how long you've been doing the job or how important it is, it could be at least a month. It could be 3 months. It could be 6 months. You don't want to go any farther than that. But he said, take everything that you wrote and put it in a drawer or in an envelope and then into a drawer and seal it to a point. And he said, normally it's about 3 months, if not 6 months. Do not look at it. Do not pay attention to it. Don't bother with it. Put a reminder on your phone to go get it. But don't look at it. And then when that date comes up and you open it, you read through it, and each area that has bothered you, see if it still bothers you. Because if it was something petty, it shouldn't bother you anymore. If it's something that could be fixed, you probably fixed it in the meantime. But if it's something that's irreversible or unchangeable, is that a right word? Um, then it's a real issue, and maybe it's time you started looking to do something different. Now, I've done something similar to that over the last couple days, um, and it's something that I'm going to work on. And it isn't about, and I did that for my own job at work. And I gave this advice to somebody. I actually did this for a job a couple times in my career. And most of the time, I would say 80% of the time, probably done it 4 or 5 times. I've opened it up and laughed at the piece of paper in the booklet. I just laugh at it because I'm like, I can't believe I was so upset about this thing that was going on. Um, Whether it be a boss that I had that was no longer there, or a job that I had to do that I no longer had to do. It was only like a 2 week thing. I do have to say, one time I did do that. I left my job. I walked in the next Monday and I gave them my 2 weeks notice. They asked me to stay for a month and I did, after trying to talk me out of it. Um, but it is a great thing to do. I'm not saying it will get you not to do it, but that is my piece of advice. That said, So what do you do in the meantime? What do you do for that 3 months or 6 months that you're doing that? Well, after you write all that stuff down, stay positive, stay focused. And I've done that with my current job. Um, what I did is I actually went in and found my job description. Um, and I'm a trainer for a large corporation that delivers items to people around the world, takes orders and gets it to you uh, in a prime amount of time. Um, you just order things online and it primarily gets to you. And I'm a trainer for that. So obviously, I work in a warehouse. It's nothing special. I'm not at any high level. Um, and I really like my job, but I've grown a little bit stagnant lately. And a really negative thing happened to me recently where the one boss that I was working with who had promised to work with me in the future actually got a promotion and went across the country, literally from the East Coast to the West Coast. And I'm so happy for her. But at the same time, her boss's boss is somebody who I completely respect. Um, uh, Decided to leave the company to start a family. And so I'm kind of left in a lurch of the two people I respect the most at my or two of the people that I respect the most at my job leaving. What do I do about that? What do I do about progressing myself in a job that I've been doing for about a year now? As I've progressed into, I got promoted to this job. Um, that I'm in a lurch. I'm like, what do I do next? And so I went in and I found my own job description and where if they were posting my job for another building, what would that job description be? And this is something that you can do, and I'm actually going to be doing this with um, Eve, and I'll show you. Actually, I'll pull it up here. You saw it briefly earlier, um, but I'm doing this for my regular job. Um, I created a spreadsheet. This different from this one at my regular job, and I actually copied and pasted the 15 items in it um, that uh, or the 15 things in the job description. And then I went through each one of them and I highlighted them either proficient, needs work, or bad. I did a self-assessment of my own job performance at my job at work. Um, and I started looking at it and realizing it was very similar to the one that you see in front of you in regards to me making videos for Eve. That I wasn't as proficient, and there were definite gaps and things that I need to work on to get better at. And it really gave me a positive feel for wanting to do my job. And then I got home this weekend and I realized I was kind of in the same rut with Eve. Not Eve itself, I love playing Eve, is the channel. I've been making mistakes lately, not setting up sound correctly, putting the the promo, the startup in there correctly where it had the music going over the top of it. Um, Putting up videos that really didn't have content that was interesting or as interesting as I would like them to be. So I sat down today and I came up with a short list. That old saying, the KISS method, keep it simple, stupid. There's 1,000 different things that you can try to work on in Eve. But I tried to come up with 4 separate areas right now that I can work on. And this would be basically for videos that are out there, that from me making videos. And how can I make the videos more uh, positive and more structured and more consistent? So I had to rate myself. I tried to be honest at my own feelings on different things. And this is generalized. And this literally took me 10 minutes. Don't think I'm overly organized. It took me 10 minutes. Um, and I looked through, okay, my content production, my video production. How's the content? Content's okay. I mean, the amount of information that I put out there, I feel okay, but it needs some work. I need to refine that some. I need to figure out what is interesting to people, what is not. I found at times that I put up videos that I'm really proud of, and then I don't get much of a reaction. So maybe I'm more focused on what I'm interested in and not what what would be more helpful to everyone. I felt like my consistency of the videos is really bad. Uh, the flavor of the week for me a lot of times will happen, and I'll have an idea, and then a week later I'll have a different idea of how I want to run the show or the videos, things like that. The only consistent thing I usually do is keep it around 30 minutes, but I've gone with doing updates at the beginning, to hints at the beginning, to region reviews, to all sorts of different things. So I could think my consistency is really bad, and it's something that I need to work on. My energy is positive. I'm just going to stick it there. I think I'm in good shape. It's still about 100%, but I need to focus that. My organization goes directly with consistency. These are two things that go hand in hand. Things that I need to work on and get more organized so that videos that are expected, if somebody tunes in on a Monday hope or a Sunday, hoping that I'm going to put up a fleeting up channel or fleeting up video, then I should have a fleeting up video up there for them. So I need to organize and be consistent. Maybe should be the same thing, but two things I need to work on. Discord. Discord's created. We've got about 20, 18 or 20 people that have joined, people talking amongst each other, but I haven't organized it as well as I would like it to be, so it definitely needs some work. If you guys have any ideas, let me know. I know there's things like bots and things like that that I can put in there to make things better. Um, Also, not only with Discord, but the in-game chat has a few people that are in it, but I don't really push it anymore. And I found that people really, back in the day, were really liking that, so I need to focus on that a little bit more. In my video production recently and in general has not been the best in the world, so I definitely need to keep getting better at that. I'm not going to go through every bit of part here. I think this is pretty self-explanatory. I feel right now for what I want to do, my Amarian ship knowledge is pretty good. The rest of these are pretty need a lot of work. So that's something that I can bring out to you guys. As I'm working on it, I can make a video about it. I need to figure out a way that I can start focusing on some of these other ship types, which will create content, beep, content for other videos. Gameplay, I feel like I'm okay with fitting now and tactically as far as exploration, but tactically as far as PvP, I'm terrible at. So maybe this should be a red. And then how good am I with the Eve lore, the player lore, and third party lore? Um, Not good. So this is something I need to focus on. So you may see some changes coming in the next week, 2 weeks to how I organize things. I would invite, I don't want this video to go forever. I just hit the 30-minute mark, so I'm at consistency. Um, uh, if there's something that you would like me to do, or something that you would like to see, or something you don't like, if you don't like me talking about this sort, well, I'm going to talk about this sort of stuff. But I put it at the end. I was smart. I did the Eve stuff at the beginning, so people could just shut it off. Um, if there's something that you would like to see, please let me know. I'm going to be spending some time organizing things, and I may do end of video things like this, where I talk about how I'm organizing Discord, how I'm organizing the uh, video production. I'll try to put the Eve stuff at the front and then production stuff at the end. That way, keep it simple, stupid, KISS, Eve stuff first, and that's the only thing I'm focused on for this weekend. I'm going to try to do that, and then I'll do updates at the end. And I'm not going to worry so much about the 30-minute thing. Um, but if you guys have any ideas or any ideas to help out, please let me know. If you want to check into the Discord channel, it's at should be in the description of this video. And hopefully things will get a little bit more organized, and then uh, come 6 months from now, I'll do another reboot because you know what? It's all about it. All right. That went a little bit long, but I feel jazzed and I'm ready to roll. Uh, and I have my sound working, so that's cool. Look at that. The sound's working. Haven't messed that up today. So, hey, That's about all I got for tonight. I'm going to go watch some football, and I bought some vanilla ice cream and some root beer, so I'm going to make some root beer floats because it costs a lot less than buying them from a regular store. And I'm going to relax. You guys fly safe, fly dangerously, fly higher than you want, and I will talk to you soon. Have a good one. Bye bye.